Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to introduce someone who you've not met before. And you're watching Discover Brightside, the video podcast where we discover new people so that you get empowered by listening to their wonderful stories. And I have today with me Kate, and she and I have been trying to do this interview now for 2 or 3 months. So you better appreciate this time because it has taken a while for us to get together. But when two powerful women get together, something magic happens. So share your story with us. Tell us all about it, Kathryn Mullen.
So thank you so much, Elizabeth, for this opportunity to speak to you and especially to speak to your viewers, because I have so much to talk about with regard to this topic. A little bit about me, and I'm going to tell you about my topic. I've been 40 years in the fashion business. I went into media publicity. I've also been a talent agent, and I've represented hard to finds, which include mature men and women, right? So in my years of 40 years in the fashion business and growing older on myself, I noticed that our demographic 55 up was being completely ignored by marketers and advertisers and manufacturers. And so I have become the only mature consumer advocate for mature female consumers. And the reason why this is such an important job to have or avocation to have, Elizabeth, is because mature female consumers control 70% of the country's wealth. We show up more often in vote conservative. We cradle humanity from birth through life, through crisis, and even into death and interment. We are the ones that do that. We are the biggest, most influential economic and political force in America for certain, probably the world. I haven't got to the global women yet, mature women yet, but certainly in America, we pretty much are the group that you need to appease or promote or connect with in order for your product to win, your election to win, your message to be heard, and for your company to be profitable. We're the demographic you want to look for, and we're just invisible. So I've made it my business not only to make this demographic of particularly women, but obviously men as well, to make this demographic of mature women 55 and up visible to marketers, visible to advertisers, desirable to have our money because we have a lot of money and we buy for everybody.
That's true. We've been talking, we've had our women's conference, which you missed, but today is the 30th. So this video is going to be part of the Empower Women series. So we did catch you in time to do that. So one of the things that came up a lot with the women interviews and the conference was that women are there for everyone but themselves. So when it comes to taking care of their health, comes to taking care of what they need, it's like the last thing in the world. And so you're absolutely right. This is a very important demographic. And honestly, American women lead the way. You don't know how women around the world look to American women for leadership, for feminism, for taking charge, for motivating them to, get out of bad marriages, for being independent, for going back to school, for getting jobs, for getting into careers and not feeling guilty about it. So you're right. American women play a major role, not just in America, but around the world. So now you have done a lot with the fashion industry, and I'll tell you, I have been to so many events, like really a lot of events. But when I went to Fashion Week, I realized what the fashion was all. I was never a fashion person, but when I went to Fashion Week, I realized, man, this industry is just the best in the world because you never realize how design and power and beauty comes together in such a strong way.
Mhm.
And you're right. And on that runway, we need 65 plus women because we are beautiful as we age, and we need to have our own runway and have our own fashion design week. So you're
Absolutely.
absolutely right. And we're the highest spenders too, so they need to pay attention to us for sure.
Well, I want to also go back to what you were saying just a moment ago about that we do everything for everybody and then we sort of lose ourselves along the way. And then when the time comes that we really need community and we really need friendships, we don't have any. And the reason for that is because once you get married, your life is dedicated to your
Yes.
husband. Then you have children, your life is dedicated to your children. Then your grandchildren, or you're dedicated to your grandchildren. And then to taking care of your husband as he goes into a demise and clearly and statistically dies before you do. And so then you're left at 65 or 70 and you've disconnected from all of your girlfriends, all of your friends, all of your hobbies. And we're out there and we have no one, which is sad because there's so many of us who have no one. And so that's another large part of what I'm doing is trying to build this community back together, whether it's through fashion, which is what we all love anyway, one way or the other, love or hate it. All women love fashion. But it's also the connectivity through the iconic magazine that we'll talk about in just a little bit, and through just recognizing the need and connecting those who want companionship and need companionship. And there's people that can't drive or don't have a car or for whatever reason they still need to connect, and those are the people that are the loneliest. And it's interesting because I think when people think of mature people or 55 plus or 60 plus, that they think of this, Aunt B from Andy Griffith kind of woman with the little doily collar and the big low slung bosom and the bun on her head. And we're just not that anymore. We're ex hippies. We were involved in protests. Some of us were at Woodstock. You want to define cool? That's us, right? And so, yes, fashion is a big key in this. And you are so lucky that you got to go to Fashion Week. But I got to tell you, more and more fashion, it gets more and more useless to me than ever. And the interesting thing is, I don't know, did you get to go to the Chanel show by any chance?
I went to
Well,
all of it. Alvin Klein, and
I
I
love,
went, and I was like, because I was not, I was in advertising and I did a lot of work, but I was never a branded kind of personality. But when I actually saw it all together, I was like, oh wow, this is what it's all about. Yeah, so you really realize it.
and how old were those girls?
Very young. So
And
you're
how
right.
old were those girls?
Very young, absolutely skinny, anorexic, unhealthy, all the things that we would normally. So you're right. We need
And
our
the
own
buyers of
runway.
the clothes.
The buyers were pretty mature. The buyers
Uh,
were pretty mature. Yeah, yeah,
well, we're the only ones that can afford those clothes. It's
exactly.
our demographic are the ones that are buying the clothes. We're the ones that are wearing the clothes. And we're not wafer thin. And we're not, that
Uh,
buccal fat thing gone. I mean, and so it's just interesting that they do prefer these little anorexic little 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds to sell clothes to women like us. So yeah, we do need our own runway.
we need
And have
our
you noticed, and did you see in the shows where they did have mature models that they were really striking and really brought something unique to the fashion they were wearing?
yes.
At least the ones that I've seen that were recently in, I think there was one in Miss Sohi. They're kind of sprinkled in different shows. I know Calvin Klein loves, no, Ralph Lauren loves having mature women and men in his shows. But yeah, so we have such economic power that we need to be represented more often in these shows, and we need to be represented more often in advertising and marketing, and not as silver haired old people, because we're
No,
not all silver haired old people
no,
anymore.
no. We have, it's interesting because I had done research. I was working on one of those and women who are mature have more sex than younger women, and they're having more exciting lives, they're dating more, they're doing more. So there's hiking, they're biking, they're running marathons, they're learning karate, you're right, it's like a whole new world, when you change. Mature women are far more interesting, definitely 100%.
Yeah,
So
and we're
yeah.
moving into things like we're moving into things like Tai Chi, and we're moving into things that are gentle on the body and that sort of thing. And the funny thing that you mentioned about sex, this is going to crack you up. Did you know that the highest rate of STDs in this country is in Americans 55 and up?
No.
Did you know the hotbed for sexually transmitted diseases, as I understand it, I'm willing to be wrong, but I recently read this, that the highest rate of STDs in the country is actually in the villages of Florida, which is a huge retirement community, 55 plus.
Oh, Florida. We could talk for hours about Florida, hours about Florida. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it so strongly. Yeah. So, yes, we should own the runway. We should own the voting polls. We should have a voice. And definitely, it is one of the most fascinating demographics there is. So yes, so I'm glad that you're taking a leadership on this. I'm glad that you're being the spokesperson for this group. So tell us about the Iconic magazine.
So, Iconic Magazine is sort of the culmination of everything that I'm trying to get across to marketers and advertisers. Right, that we have all this money that we're largely ignored, that we still want to spend, and we're still buying. And if you want our money or more of our money, then you need to learn to cater to us and know who we are. And in that
Absolutely.
process, we need to cater to us and we need to know who we are. We need to rediscover who we are. Because once you hit this age group of 55 plus, certainly 55 to 65, 70, your kids are now gone, you're empty, you're done, you're alone. You want to you want a new look. You want a new style, fashion style. You want a new hair look. You want a new fashion style. You want a new life. You want to start taking classes. And so all of these marketers need to be able to find us, right? And in specific, I want to say, cannabis marketers need to find us because mature women, mature Americans, but mature women specifically, are the biggest buyers of cannabis and cannabis products than anyone else in the country. And we use it for pain, and we use it for sleep, and we use it for recreation. We just use it for all kinds of things, even the things that are made of hemp. We are using those things, the clothing, the furnishings, the house goods. And so, where do they find this demographic? Where do they go? Where do marketers and advertisers go to find out what this demographic is, how they think, what they look like, how we function, and what we want? Now they can
Absolutely.
go to Iconic Magazine, right? And Iconic Magazine is unique because it's fashion, beauty, and lifestyle specifically for mature women. We don't use celebrities or famous people or naturally beautiful people. We put ads out in certain cities that we go to, and we say, hey, do you want to have a life-changing experience, a life-changing makeover, a fashion shoot? And then the encouragement and sometimes the I don't want to say money because it's not always about money, but the encouragement and the opportunity to go into the life that you choose to go into. We hook them up with mentors, we hook them up with opportunities and that sort of thing. But first and foremost, we want our readers to see themselves in Iconic Magazine because if you've made it to 60, 70, 80 years old, you are iconic. Right. I know a woman that's 85. She used to publish a newspaper in her town. She owned the local nursing home for 50 years. She owns massive amounts of real estate in this little town. And she is truly iconic. She has shaped that town. I know. I mean, you, for instance, everything that you've done, you're iconic. It's true. And people need to know about you. And people need to know about Loretta Humble. And people need to know about all of these women. And
Yeah.
so that's how they can find them is through Iconic Magazine. And we're reader driven, Elizabeth. We're reader driven in that we produce the fashion editorials and stuff. However, if you're a writer and you want to be a published writer, we can publish you. If you're a designer and you want to get your designs out for the public to see, whether they're conceptual or functional, we can do you an editorial. If you're a makeup artist or a photographer or a stylist and you want to work with a high end digital magazine, then come and talk to us because we want your work, right? So it's a collaboration, it's a community, it's pulling all of these people and ideas together specifically so that we can be courted by the market.
Is there, this sounds fantastic. I can't wait to see this magazine and promote it on my show as well, because we do have a mature audience, and my audience is veterans and military. And, I just interviewed a lady vet who was a pilot, and she was telling me all the challenges of, she couldn't land her plane. So, she couldn't pass her piloting test, and
Oh no.
she finally, told herself that, look, we got to do this. so, so
And
yeah,
she did
women,
it.
and she did it. Yeah, she did it. And women's stories are second to none because we can relate to situations that other women have been through or gone through, or all that. So I love what you're doing. I absolutely am totally sold out. This sounds like
Well,
a
thank
fantastic
you.
digital medium which we need to promote. And thank you for this interview. And I will connect with you. What's your website?
So I'm having trouble getting it all launched because I'm doing it largely myself. But there's two websites. One is matureadvocate.com or matureconsumers.com. And then you can see the cover of the upcoming Iconic magazine. And then soon it will be iconicmagazine.online. So
Okay.
right now, we're building the mature consumers website because everybody needs to have a reference point of who we are and why we exist and why you need to know us. And that's going to direct them directly to iconicmagazine.online.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So there you have it. Now you know. Tell us what you think about this interview. Are you a woman who's 65 or older? Tell us what you're experiencing right now, and tell us what you think about meeting Kate and the iconic magazine. Would you like to be a part of it? We'd love to hear your story. So let us know. And just writing a comment, you'll get 2 tickets to my next empowerment studio recording where you can actually meet all these wonderful people in person in our studio. So it's worth coming. It's an experience second to none. We do this every single month because we want to empower you. So thank you for watching Discover Brightside, the video podcast where we discover new people, new things to keep you informed so you can live the best life you can live. Thank you for watching.